Hello and welcome to Yoga Uni. My name is Rizzo. Today we're going to do a nice all levels integral Hatha yoga class. So we'll begin with a little bit of meditation just for a couple minutes. And I always like to say that if you can do nothing, then you can do anything. Now there are many different types of meditation practice, Buddhist meditation, yogic meditation, mantra meditation. For me, the most important thing is to practice the art of stillness. You will notice as soon as you try to sit, the mind is running, there are thoughts, you're thinking about lunch, you're thinking about work. And this is normal, this is the nature of the mind. As Patanjali Sutra said, yoga is the intentional stopping of the unintentional chatter of the mind. So once again, if you can do nothing, if you can sit and be completely still, then you can do anything. Now, a lot of people will try to practice longer meditations, which often, especially in the beginning, ends up being a type of torture. I would rather see my students practice a meditation for a minute or for 2 minutes, but really be attentive and aware, and basically recollect, gather back the mind every time the mind wanders. So for the next minute and a half or 2 minutes, I invite you to just close your eyes, take a nice deep breath, and with your eyes closed, you'll notice it's not completely black. You can see little specks of light, almost like in the old days when we had the TV screens with the antenna. This is the cosmic energy. This is the activity of the mind. Now see if you can focus on a singular point, the space between your eyebrows. See if you can find the absolute center of your mind. Bring all of your awareness there. Now visualize a shape. It can be a circle, a triangle, every time your mind wanders, bring your awareness back to the center. Observe the activity of the mind and remain completely still. Slowly open your eyes. Stretch your head forward. And back. Forward again. And back. Come back to center. Stretch your head to one side. The other side. And back to center. All right. Let's come up to a standing position. We'll begin today with 4 sun salutations. These sun salutations may be a little bit different than the other styles that you're used to. Most of these things are just little aesthetic variations, so feel free to continue doing the way that you know, or to try this little variation, but it's not a big difference, and in my opinion it really doesn't matter that much. The important thing is the concentration and the movement. So we'll begin at the front of the mat, and I tend to have my feet pretty close together and just check in for a moment. Get your body relaxed. You bring your hands up to a prayer position, and then inhale, reaching up, gently arch back. Exhale, fold forward and down, knees a bit bent, and if your body's not warm yet, just take it easy. Now bending your knees, I'm going to shoot the right leg back, and I lower my right knee. And here, this is the really important part, I'm going to shift my weight forward, engaging my abs, lengthening my spine. So there's really, really a big difference between this and this. And just breathe naturally. And then I'm going to shoot my left leg back, come into a plank position, body as straight as possible. Now here, if you're newer to yoga or still really working on the strength of your shoulders and arms, you're going to lower down to the knees first. And then see if you can lower your chest down to the mat. Students with a bit more upper arm strength can lower down directly from plank to chaturanga. Then arch up to upward facing dog. Press back, downward dog. Let your body warm up. On the next inhalation, I'm going to step my right foot forward between my hands. Lower the left knee, sink the hips. Chest comes up. Breathe naturally. Left foot comes forward, forward bend. Roll up, arch back, and rest. Inhale up again. Exhale, forward and down. Bend your knees, left leg back. Lower your left knee, sink your hips. Right leg back, plank pose. Now I see a lot of people in my classes lower down to chaturanga. Sometimes they're like this, and then they just kind of flop over. If you don't have the arm strength yet, again, lower down to your knees. But then here, you're going to keep your body straight, and I've turned my elbows a little bit in. And I'm going to squeeze the elbow right by the side of my body. Try not to give up. You're going to keep your body straight and lower down little by little until you're on knees, chin, and chest. Arch up again. Upward dog, shoulders down and back. Press back, downward dog. Body's getting a little bit warmer now, so if you have the flexibility, you can start pushing your heels down towards the ground and try to get nice length in your upper spine, freeing from your pelvis and sacroiliac joint. Inhale, step your left foot forward between your hands. Right knee down, chest up. Right foot comes forward, nice forward bend. Can go a little bit deeper now. Roll up and arch back. Okay, we're going to do 2 more sun salutations. I just want to take a moment to show a little trick. When you're coming from your downward dog into a lunge position, a lot of people in the beginning will have a little bit of trouble getting that foot forward. Let's say, for example, I'm going to bring my right foot forward. I see a lot of beginners kind of do this. And then, you have to kind of persuade that foot to get up here. Now, some of that has to do with flexibility, and some of it has to do with technique. So here, when I'm in my down dog, for example, again, if I'm bringing my right foot forward, I'm going to step my left foot into the center. And that just gives me a little bit more balance of the weight. And then, if I leave my weight over my feet, then it's going to be really difficult because there's nowhere for my foot to go. So what I'll do, again, I've shifted my left foot into the center, and then I'm going to shift my weight up and over my shoulders. And that's going to create the space for me to be able to get my foot up. So if you look at that one more time, kind of in slow motion, I'm going to shift my weight and step the foot. So if you've been having trouble getting your foot up there in your lunges, give this a try. It might really help you. Okay. So all together again, 2 more sun salutations. Hands together. Quiet your mind. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward and down. Bend your knees, right leg back. Left leg back, plank pose. Lower down, chaturanga. Arch up, upward dog. Press back, downward dog. Inhale, right foot forward. Remember to shift the weight. Left foot forward, forward bend. Roll up, arch back. Rest. And one more. Inhale up. Exhale, forward and down. Left leg back. Right leg back, plank pose. Lower down. Arch up. Press back. Inhale, left foot forward. Right foot forward. Roll up. Arch back. And rest. Good. So for my own practice and for my students, I almost always begin my class with a warm-up. Sometimes it's classical gymnastics warm-up. Sometimes can be qigong or martial arts warm-up. And sometimes, very often, I'll do at least 4, if not 8 or 10 sun salutations, just to get the body awake. Now, moving into the actual Hatha yoga, I'm going to start with my feet together, clasp my hands, reach straight up. And we'll stretch over to the side. Notice I'm going to push my hips in the opposite direction. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Lower your arms down. Reach up again. And stretch over to the side. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Now, I'm going to go into a slightly deeper back bend. And one of the really important things for the back bend, if I leave my pelvis in a neutral position, or if I have a slight anterior tilt, then when I go into my back bend, I'm going to start to feel compression and pressure in the lower back because there's really nowhere for me to go. If you think about the concept of yin and yang, the expansive and the contractive, I need to actually push my hips forward in order to go back. And then what's going to happen is from my toes all the way up to my chin, the muscles in the front of my body are going to engage to keep the muscles in the back of my body from compressing. So clasp your hands together, reach up, knees slightly bent, and then here I'm going to go ahead and push my hips all the way forward and start to squeeze back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, forward and down. Now here, instead of going straight into my forward bend with straight legs, I'm going to bend at my knees, place my hand right on my kneecap, then I'll inhale and walk my ribs up my thighs. Now, even if you're newer to yoga or not very flexible, you should be able to achieve this position with the knees bent. So you can see my knees are heavily bent, but my chest is sitting right on my thighs. Then I'm going to grab behind my heels and just imagine that you've got a belt wrapping around your back and around the backs of your legs. Grab behind my heels, elbows a little bit in, and then inhale and lift and lower your buttocks. But you'll notice the whole time my shoulders are staying glued to the knee, and I'm really working to get that stretch all the way to the base of my spine and have a nice, long, relatively straight spine. Couple more. And stretch, breathing. Now hands down, bending your knees. I'm going to shoot my right leg back, just like with the sun salutation. This time, I lower the knee. I'm going to tuck the toe under. From here, you're going to come up. Now, I see a lot of people here. You want to shift your weight all the way forward and down, okay? So you can imagine there's someone here and they're pushing your hip forward. Buttock stays relaxed. Then lift your chest. If that feels comfortable to you, you can also reach your arms up and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. I'm going to bring my right knee forward a little bit more. And now I'll place my left hand on the inside of the left foot, shoulder to the knee, and inhale, turn, gazing upwards. Now here, be careful that you're not overextending from the shoulder. You want to try to get the motion really from your rib cage, shoulder down. And 3, 2, 1. Hand comes down. Shoot your left leg back, plank pose. Lower down, chaturanga. Arch up dog. Press back, downward facing dog. And I'm going to go ahead and just switch sides here. Now in your down dog, same principle as that forward bend. You can bend your knees as much as you need to and try to get your spine free all the way down to the sacroiliac joint. And then, once your spine is free, you can start to think about straightening the legs as well. Some nice deep breaths. You can even bounce a little bit between your shoulder blades. Then inhale, stepping your right foot forward, lower your left knee, sink your hips, reach up. Try to be still. Again, pushing that hip forward, chest back. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Left knee comes forward a little bit more. Place the right hand on the inside of your right foot. Arm and leg together. And then I'm going to turn from my rib cage. Reach up. And rest. Hand comes down. This time I'm going to come up onto my foot and pivot so both legs are facing wide. Arms out. Hinge forward at the waist. Come down. Nice forward bend. Now reach both hands to your right leg. Nice breathing. Both hands to your left. Back to center. Hop your feet a little bit closer together. And slowly roll up. Inhale. Exhale. And rest. Now, coming to a classic yoga pose, the tree pose. And one of the things about the tree is you want to kind of unhook your thigh from your pelvis. A lot of times in the beginning, people's tree will look a bit like this. Okay? Take some time, take some practice. But what I recommend, you're going to bend your right knee all the way in. Open it to the side. Now I'm going to place my heel just under my groin. Also, you'll notice, perhaps you can see, that my toe is angled slightly back. And that allows my heel to just sit in this nice spot. If you're having trouble, for example, you feel that your foot is always sliding down, you can try this, getting your heel a little in front of the toe. And then you want to roll both hips back, okay? Abs are engaged. Bring your hands into a prayer position. If that feels easy for you, you can reach your arms over your head. And then try to be as still as you can possibly be. Couple more breaths. Imagine you're a tree on a day where there's no wind. And rest. Other side. You're going to bend your knee in. Open, and place the foot under your groin, hands in prayer position. And if you wish, You may reach your arms up. And rest. Good. Now you open your legs a little bit wider and come down to a squat pose. Nice breath. You can use your backs of your arms or elbows to push a little bit on the knee. If you feel yourself kind of in this position, you're going to push up, lifting your spine. And then gently lower down to your buttocks. I'm going to bend one foot in. Now I'll see a lot of people try to do the single leg forward bend with a straight leg, and even if you're flexible, I highly recommend that you start with the knee bend. And just like in our standing double leg forward bend, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to grab hold of my knee, I'm going to suck my belly in, lift my chest, and glue my chest to my thigh, grabbing hold of the foot. Now be aware here that you're pulling the foot both sides equally, especially beginners. Sometimes they pull the foot like this. You want to pull the outside and inside of the foot with equal pressure. Again, lift your chest. And then little by little, I'm going to keep my chest glued to my thigh. And I'm just going to gently start to straighten the leg. For advanced students, you'll start working on getting your elbows down. And then bring the chin to the knee. Release. I'm going to switch sides. Same idea, bending the knee, lengthening the spine, grab hold of the foot, and then slowly lower that leg down. Nice, deep breathing. And really here you're looking for a long spine. So instead of being rounded, just go ahead and bend the knee as much as you need to and keep your spine as long as possible. Now I'm going to bring one leg back. So I'll bend my right foot in, and I'm going to bring my left leg behind me. Now I'm not sitting on my foot. My foot is just to the outside of my buttocks. For some people, especially for men who have tight ankles, you may want to roll up a towel, and you can put the rolled towel under your ankle like this. It'll take some of the pressure out. Sometimes I see people do this. I prefer that you tuck the foot under because it gives a cleaner stretch into the knee. All right? And then I'm going to lean back. So if you have a sensitive lower back or neck, you can start here. Okay? If that feels comfortable, I'll come down to one elbow. And if that feels comfortable, I'll come down to the other elbow as well. Now, in this position, I don't feel much of a stretch. So what I can do is push my hip a little forward. It may be hard for you to see, but I'm just going to engage my buttocks a little bit and push the hip forward, making an active stretch. And then that brings the stretch up into my psoas as well as into the quadriceps. Now this is a beginner or all levels class today, but if you're a more advanced student, you can go ahead and lie back. If you're going to lie down, make sure your knee doesn't come up. Once your knee comes up, the integrity of the pose is compromised. So you want to make sure you're keeping that knee down, especially if you decide to lie to your back. Take a couple more breaths, and again, if you want more intensity, you can use your left buttocks and gently push the hip forward. Very, very important stretch. And it's a very comfortable stretch. It's something you can do at home, maybe watching a movie or just hanging out if you're sitting on the floor. These quadriceps are very important and very strong muscles. So they take a while to stretch out. You can spend 2, 3, 4 minutes in this pose, and then you'll really, really feel the difference. All right, I'm going to go ahead and release that and switch sides. And lean back again, first to my left elbow, and possibly to the right, and I'll gently push the hip forward. And just breathe. I like to keep my neck forward here so I don't get stressed. Just keep your head slightly forward. A couple more breaths. And one more nice breath. Again, you can engage your right buttocks a little bit, push the hip forward. Get that stretch all through the front of the right side of the body. And rest. Good. Now, we're going to bring both legs forward. Again, same idea. I'm going to start with my knees pretty bent. And I'll grab my 2 big toes, almost like the trigger of a gun. Then here, your body may want to be collapsed over. You're going to bring the belly in, lift your chest. Again, glue your chest to your thigh, and then slowly walk the feet down. And come to your nice full forward bend. Again, I don't want to see you doing this. I would rather see you practicing from here, but making sure that you really open and free your sacroiliac joint. And that's this area. So you're lifting from your lower back, gluing your chest to your thighs, and then slowly come down. Take nice breaths and really tune in. Make sure you're remembering to breathe out. A lot of times when we're in a position that feels intense, when we're in a pose where we feel an almost extreme stretch, we start to hold our breath. So really be sure that you're just breathing out and letting go and seeing if you can soften any of the muscles that don't need to be working. And rest. Good. Now I'm going to come up onto my knees. And rest for a moment in child's pose. And then coming up into a seated position, I'll come up onto the knee. Now, if you're newer to class, you can always tuck your toes under and notice that my feet are hip-width distance apart, all right? So this is a modification of Camel Pose. I'm going to push my hip forward and reach back with one hand and then the other. So this would be the kind of beginner version. If that feels comfortable to you, you can go ahead and drop your feet down. Do the same thing. If you have issues with your neck, you can stay gazing forward. But if you feel comfortable with your neck and there's no problems, you can let your head drop back. Roll the shoulders back, pushing the hips forward. And breathe. 3, 2, 1. And break. Come back down to your child's pose, relaxing your lower back. Come back up to a seated position. I'm going to straighten my left leg out and place my right foot next to the left knee. Reach your left arm up and then twisting your spine. As you twist, exhale and lift your chest, gazing behind you if possible. And breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. I'm going to switch legs. Reach the right arm up, twist the spine, lifting your chest. And breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax. Good. Now the most difficult and most important pose, Shavasana. You're going to lie flat on your back. Here, the absolute most important thing about Shavasana is symmetry. You want to line up the right and left side of your body. First, check in with your hips and pelvis. See if your sacrum is sitting flat on the ground. And check in with your neck. See if you can make one long line from the base of your spine all the way to the top of your head. Then take some nice, deep breaths. Relax your left hand, wrist, elbow, and shoulder. Right hand, wrist, elbow, shoulder. Relax your left foot, ankle, knee, and hip. Right foot, ankle, knee, and hip. Let your whole body relax, almost as if you're sinking into the floor. Becoming filled with peace, vitality. And you can stay in your Shavasana as long as you like, observing the mind, letting go of all thought, almost like closing all the apps and just charging your inner batteries. If you'd like to remain in Shavasana, continue to enjoy the rest. Otherwise, you may roll over to your side. And come up to seated position. See if you can keep the same level of calmness and meditation. As you continue on your day and into your life, remember that the yoga is not just mindfulness on the mat, but is the study of how to be mindful in every aspect of your life, how to move with grace and efficiency, compassion and love. Thank you.